So the Orlando Magic have been absolutely stacking up in the draft in recent years, and this year is no different, where at the time of making this video, we now know that post-lottery, they will of course officially have the 6th overall pick and 11th overall pick. Of course, one of them, I believe the 11th pick, belonging to the Chicago Bulls. Again, they've definitely capitalized off this Nikola Vucevic trade and have definitely given me a lot to think about on who they should of course be taking. And again, before I get into who I think they should take a pick 6 and who I think they should be taking a pick 11, we're going to be talking about the other mock draft, the official one that I've done, because I would highly recommend you guys go and checking that out, which will be linked in the description down below. That way you guys will get to see who I have all the other teams selecting and whatnot, just so you guys are all up to date. It also helps out, just in case you're wondering why I didn't take a certain player with this pick. It might be because he has already gone to a different team who have a higher pick. So of course, go and check out my full mock draft, which will be linked in the description down below, just so you guys will be all up to date and whatnot. But I guess without further ado, here's who I think the Orlando Magic should select with the 11th overall pick and the 6th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. The 6th overall pick, we actually have the Orlando Magic, and Orlando, again, seem like they just are continuing to hit the draft, and so far they've done a really good job with a bunch of their players that they've selected. Of course, taking the gamble and taking Paolo Banchero at 1 when a lot of people said they should take Chet Holmgren and Jabari Smith. At pick 1, they really stuck to their guns, trusted their workouts, trusted their intel, and went with Banchero. And look how much it's rewarding them. And of course, Franz Wagner with a high pick, I think it was pick 8 or so the year before. Really good pick against Suggs. Hasn't exactly panned out what they wanted him to be, but again, there's still a lot of time for him to, I still think, develop into being a really solid player in the NBA. And I think with the 6th overall pick, they have another chance to really add to this exceptional young core that they have. And with the 6th overall pick, I've actually got them selecting Ausar Thompson, who I think just absolutely fits this team and continues to make this team one of the most exciting squads, I think, in the NBA. When we look at Ausar Thompson, he's actually a lot, I think, more different to his twin that a lot of people think, and actually know about. Again, with Ausar, he's actually a little bit different in the points where he's not really a point guard / guard like his brother is. He can definitely play the small forward quite well and even switch, I believe, from 1 through 3 and even potentially the 4 as well. An exceptionally good defender at 6'7", just has the ability to read the passing lanes really well. He's got really good weak side help on the defense. He's just an exceptional defender coming into this draft. Not just that, he is an extremely athletic guy as well, who I think is just so underrated when it comes to that. This dude's got crazy hops, and the potential with his athleticism also ties in the potential with his defense, I think, in the NBA, where it's just going to go coincide of just being a really good player. Now, I've seen some comparisons saying that he's actually, got a couple of players here and there, like, of course, his brother. He's compared to his brother in terms of his athleticism and defense. But, of course, as well as some other dudes here and there, like a Terrence Ross. And I think people forget when prime Terrence Ross was in the NBA, he was an exceptionally good scorer who had extremely good hops. And, of course, wasn't that bad on defense either. And I think when we look at Ausar Thompson, if you can get the scoring and athleticism out of, what prime, I think, Terrence Ross showed in the NBA, plus an elite level defense, you're going to be seeing an absolutely exceptional player, I think, coming to the NBA. And if you put him on this Orlando Magic team, God, is this team probably the most athletic squad in the NBA almost. Again, I don't know if, of course, the Stars are not going to fix their shooting issues. That's one big thing, is I don't think Orlando have really the greatest shooters, but I definitely think they can fill that out maybe on the bench. And who knows who their starting point guard is going to be in the future. Again, a lot of people say Markelle Fultz. But I wonder if you drafted Ausar Thompson, do you look at maybe someone different at that point guard? If maybe Jalen Suggs gets the nod. And again, if you put Suggs in there as well, just defensively, this team from 1 through 4 is going to be stacked. Again, you might need to do some work on your center defensively, but honestly, just having Ausar Thompson, Franz Wagner, and Paolo Banchero all in the same lineup, I just think is one scary thing, not only athletically, but defensively on the court. I think Banchero has a really high ceiling defensively. I think Franz Wagner is an underrated defender and can definitely grow into being a really good defender in the NBA as well. You look at Ausar Thompson, one of the best defenders in this draft class. Some people have him as the best defender, which is not so far-fetched to think as well. And yeah, the scoring is going to be really good, and I just really love this young team that this Magic team would be building if they drafted Ausar. Again, some issues with Ausar Thompson is his outside shooting isn't very good. It's definitely a fault of his game style right now. He's also not a very good passer compared to his brother, or not as good as a passer, I should probably say. But look, if you bring in Ausar Thompson, and even though himself and Banchero aren't the greatest three-point shooters, I think eventually, as they develop on their career, they could definitely get there. Again, Franz Wagner is a really good, or can be a really good three-point shooter. I think at point guard and center, we're not exactly too sure who's going to be the future names there, but even if you put Markelle Fultz still in there and playing him with Ausar Thompson, that'd just be a really scary sight, and something I think that would be really, really awesome. And again, the Magic have the 11th pick in this draft, and I've actually got them taking a player who I think will help with their shooting. Again, a little bit of a spoiler, but a little bit of a hint to the next video. But yeah, I think who I have them taking a pick 11 should help out with their shooting anyway. So it's just a thing where you're not going to worry about that with Ausar Thompson. Look, his shooting's not going to be great, but he's going to make up for it in so many other different aspects, and he's just going to be another really awesome building piece for this already great young core that the Orlando Magic are rocking with. So again, as I said, with the 6th overall pick, I do have the Magic selecting Ausar Thompson. The 11th overall pick, we have the Orlando Magic, who now have their 2nd lottery pick. Of course, they do at the time of making this video have pick number 6, sorry. And again, I've taken, of course, Ausar Thompson with that pick, who I think will help out quite a bit. But with taking Ausar Thompson, you definitely don't really, I think, fix a lot of the shooting issues that the Orlando Magic do have. And that's why with this 11th overall pick, I figured it's time to bring in a good shooter, and I think Gradey Dick kind of actually fulfills all that. It's really interesting looking at Gradey Dick because there's a lot going on with him other than his extremely awesome last name. But of course, we're looking at a 6'6" small forward from Kansas, who we know has been compared to Reggie Miller before. Yes, NBA legend Reggie Miller. And it's just like insane how good this guy is at shooting. It's being said that Gradey's a versatile wing who is an extremely high level shooter and secondary scorer with intriguing upside. He's one of the best three-point shooters in college ball, and also has elite NBA skill that comes with that. He's a fluid athlete who really knows how to move without the ball and find room for his shot. Again, when I look at Gradey Dick, I do like to also compare him to, you know, a couple of guys who are already in the NBA. One kind of with his shooting ability and body type being like Corey Kispert on the Washington Wizards. And you might be thinking, look, Kispert's a good player, but he hasn't really panned out to be exactly maybe a pick 11 type of player, which you're going to get out of Gradey Dick. But the difference is between the two is Gradey Dick is, I think, a 20 times better scorer than what Corey Kispert is. I think when we look at Kispert, he was always just an elite shooter that might have had potential on the scoring end, but we know with Gradey Dick, this dude can turn into a scorer and could potentially be a nice shot creator, I think, in the NBA as well. So, look, his first couple of seasons, he might definitely be a really nice three-point shooter for this Orlando Magic team, but I think the potential will definitely be to see this guy, of course, I think, go into being potentially a shot creator as well. And I think that's what you're really hoping, you know, to be. Again, defense is going to be an interesting one. He's not exactly extremely long for his height. We're looking at a 6'8" wingspan, which is only just bigger to his height overall. Again, his defense, I think, has been pretty decent, but again, converting to that NBA level is going to be, I think, a bit of a question mark. But when we look at this Orlando Magic, who seems like they're already building a really good defense, especially if they take Ausar Thompson with their 6th pick. Again, Bankero, I think, will develop into being a really good defender. I think Franz Wagner will as well. And then you got, of course, Jalen Suggs at that point guard, who is already showing he can be a really good defender in the NBA as well. You're looking at something really good. And I think one of the only things missing from this young team is just they've got really no outside shooting. Like, we know Bankero wasn't a good three-point shooter in his opening season. Suggs isn't really that guy from, you know, shooting threes. Markelle Fultz hasn't been that guy either. If they draft Ausar, he's not known for being able to be a really good three-point shooter. Franz Wagner can be a really good three-point shooter, and I think will be for quite a bit. He's probably their best three-point shooter. But I think you definitely need to add a dude like Gradey Dick, who would help out quite a bit, especially off that bench, to maybe come in and have 20 to 25 minutes per night as that shooting guard, as a small forward, maybe even a bit of a small ball at that power forward as well. But just overall being a really nice three-point shooter, and I think spacing the floor out for this Magic team, I think it gives people like Bankero, and if they draft Ausar Thompson, to really be able to use the paint area and I think actually have space to work with. Because right now, the Magic last season looked a bit clustered. We know Markelle Fultz and others just aren't that good at three-point shooters, but I don't think Carter was, you know, as good as he has previously been. You know, again, he had a really good opening season with the Orlando Magic team from three-point range. And look, it's going to be interesting to see how this, of course, does expand. He was still about a 35% three-point shooter, which is definitely all right. But yeah, it's just, there's only a couple dudes there that can really shoot. Adding a guy like, I think, Gradey Dick really spaces out the floor. And look, even a guy like, if they keep Markelle Fultz, if they roll with Suggs, whoever it may be out of those two, gives them more room to work with as well. And I think helps these guys out when it comes to playmaking, because they finally have a shooter to maybe actually kick it out to. Of course, I still think in free agency, you will have to sign a lot. I think a couple more shooters, because yeah, they are one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league, I believe. I think, yeah, you bring in Gradey Dick, he helps out a lot with that, but maybe bringing in some 3-and-D dudes as well in free agency for hopefully a cheaper price. But yeah, again, Gradey Dick at pick 11 makes sense, because yes, he's going to be a good three-point shooter. He's going to elevate the team there. But also, you're looking at a guy who could maybe be a shot creator one day, and especially if they have an injury or two, which, touch wood, that doesn't happen. But if they do, you're looking at a guy who could maybe, we'll have to see how he goes first, but maybe turn into somewhat of a shot creator in the NBA. But for now, I think he would be a really, really good three-point shooter who would space out the floor for this Orlando Magic team. And I'd very much like to see he and Ausar Thompson partner up on the Orlando Magic. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you guys agree with my picks, or do you guys not? Of course, I would really like to know. Don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, my IRL/long jump, and my podcast. All of them will be getting linked in the description down below if you haven't already. But yeah, of course, most importantly, I'd like to hear what you guys think about these picks. Let me know down below. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.